What is going on, everyone? Coming at you with another One Piece gameplay video. Today's gameplay video is between Blurple Crocodile and Zoro, and I know that we're seeing a lot of Zoro on the channel. Unfortunately, it's one of the most popular decks in the format, so it's going to be one of those decks that's played quite a bit. Unfortunately for me and my friends, we only got half of our One Piece allotment when it comes to cards, so we're missing a lot of crucial cards that we need to build certain decks like Black, like Whitebeard. So we're kind of making do with what we can right now. So in the meantime, I'm trying to give you guys some entertaining content with at least what we have. So I'll probably be focusing more on the Blurple Crocodile as we go forward, and that's going to be featured a bit more on my channel as we kind of go forward. But without further ado, we are going to hop into some gameplay here. I'm piloting the Blurple Crocodile. My friend Kyle is piloting the Zoro deck here. I think that Blurple Crocodile gets a lot stronger in this format, strictly because it's a deck that really thrives against aggro decks, I think, because you have so much counter, and then you have so many ways to just deal with your opponent's board. So the opponent's going to swing 8 at me here. I'm going to go ahead and counter with a Desert Spada and a Mr. Bon Cray, and then I'm going to reveal the top 3 and then place them back in the proper order, and then draw for my turn. Now I'm at 4 Dawn here. I'm going to opt to go ahead and pay 1 for a Daz Bones to grab my Spada back, and then I'm going to slot a Dawn underneath my leader and swing for 6 at Zoro, which he will then take. I think the important thing with the Blurple deck is to avoid taking life if possible until like straight up late in the game. It just depends on the situation. I don't think there's really any decks that you can afford to take life against as this deck. You have to protect as much as you can as early as possible. When it comes to like this deck here, in this matchup, you really have to stay at above 2 or 3 life because they can play Diablo Jambes and Luffy's. But the Zoro's going to go ahead and swing at me for 6, and that's an easy 2-hit counter with Spada. And I'll rearrange the top 5, and then I will draw off of my leader effect. And I now have 5 cards in hand again. Visa's going to come down and pop my Daz Bones. I really like Daz Bones because he gets your Desert Spadas back, so it basically means you're playing, like, 8 Desert Spadas if you want to think about it. And then he also can kill a lot of those searchers, like Momo and Bonnie. I'm going to swing 6 here at leader, which he'll counter out, and then I'll pay 3 to play Miss All Sunday and pass turn back. The reason why I'm playing Miss All Sunday here is because I have a Love Beam, I think, in my hand. Or I know I have a Love Beam on the top of my deck, and so I want to block, and then after I've used it, I also have 2 Desert Spadas and Desert Spada in trash, so being able to just recycle those cards is super great. Miss All Sunday basically means that with her and Daz Bones, you could be playing, additional 12 2K counters in your deck, which makes it really hard for your opponent to deal with. On the opponent's board, we do see a Vista and Nami, so I do apologize for the glare there. And yeah, 6K swing at me from the leader, which again, Desert Spada is super easy counter, and then there's going to be a Love Beam, and I'll draw off of that. And I still have 1 Dawn up, and then they're going to swing 5 at me here. And I'm just trying to think about if I want to counter or not. And I just drew an X-Drake off the top of my deck, so I'm going to have an X-Drake out of that. And then my opponent's going to play a Luffy here for 5, just to put pressure on the board. He is unblockable, so I am going to want to save resources for that. So I'm going to swing 6 at the Vista here. I want to clear pressure off board. And then I'm trying to think to myself, what's my best play here? I have a Queen in hand. I know it's a Jet Pistol target, but if I can get him to use 4 Dawn next turn on the Queen, and if he swings with Luffy, then I have a potential to crack back on it. If he doesn't pop my Queen, then I'll be able to have 2 attacks at his Luffy. So I'm going to go ahead and pay 5 here for a Queen. Queen's going to let me draw 2 cards and trash 1. I pick up another Queen here, and I'm just going to pitch that because I don't really need it in this matchup. I feel like blockers are pretty useless against Zoro if they're playing like the more mid-range version, because there's so many ways to pop your blockers, and there are so many ways for them to just kind of swing over you. With Luffy, with Diablo Jambe. So I'm going to use my blockers in a more aggressive way this game, I think, just because I don't want to lose them for nothing, and I usually can protect them if I'm turning them sideways. So that's my thought process in this deck. My job is just to kind of clear board as much as possible and then pop my opponent's board. So they're going to slot 1 Dawn under the Zoro here, just because Zoro leader effect is so good. It's just so good. and it's going to be one of those decks that we're going to see a lot of, unfortunately. But he just kind of dividing up his Dawn, trying to figure out what he wants to do. He's going to go ahead and swing 10, I think, at me with the Luffy, which I'm going to go ahead and counter out with a Love Beam, and I'll 2k counter, and then that means I'll get to draw off Love, and then draw off the leader effect here, which brings my hand back to 5. And I just get another 2k counter off that. I mean, this deck is mostly just 2k counters and blockers at this point, and then I'm also playing some Ivankovs just to recycle hand and then get some pressure late game. I'll end up blocking with Missile Sunday on this swing because it's pretty free to get that Love Beam back, and I've just, you know, recycled it fully. And then he's going to drop a Zoro but not swing with it, because if it goes sideways, then it's going to be an easy target for me on this turn, and I don't think he can protect it and the Luffy. So I'm going to go ahead and slot some Dawn aside for some plays here. So I'm going to swing 8 at the Luffy with my leader, force a 2k counter out of hand. It's going to be at least 2 cards out of hand. He's going to Radical Beam and he's going to Otama. And then I'm going to swing 6 at him, his Luffy, and he's going to counter out with Vista. And then I'm going to play 2 Laws. Now that I know the Vista's gone, I'm not worried about my Laws dying. So while he has an unblockable attack, I'm pretty confident that I can counter out of that, and then I can use my Laws to jump block the Zoro swings. And then I still have 4 Dawn active for... I have 2 Love Beams, a Spada, a Blast Breath, and an X-Rake in hand. So, I mean, if we think about this, I have so much counter potential in my hand right now. Blast Breath's going to give me 4. Both Loves are going to give me 4. Desert Spada is 2, and X-Rake is 2. So it's just... the amount of attacks that I can parry here is just absolutely absurd. And I want to avoid losing Love Beams if I don't have to. So he's going to swing. I'll pay 2 for Love, and I'll pop an X-Drake, and then I'll draw leader, and then I'll draw, draw Love, then draw leader, and then I get 2 more blockers in my hand with Galdino Inazuma. Inazuma's a card that I'm experimenting with because at a certain point in the game, your hand size is going to get down to, like, you know, 1 or 2, and then Inazuma's going to be a 7k attacker and blocker that's going to be live at all times, basically, because when you're in the late game, your opponent's going to be swinging at you with really big bodies, and you're going to be forced to counter out of those swings if you can't block them, or if you don't have any blockers. And so once you've done that and Inazuma comes down via either a hard play or through an Ivankov play, it's just, you know, really good. And then we're going to see a Diablo Jambe come down on the Zoro. He's going to swing. I'll pay 1 for a Blast Breath here, and then also 1k counter with Inazuma here so that my queen is safe, so I don't want to lose it. Because it's going to be helping me to crack back on these attackers. And then he's going to swing, and I'll block with the Law here on the Zoro swing. And now I'm looking like I'm in a pretty good spot right now. I've got 10 Dawn active. I have 2 6k bodies on board. So I'm going to swing 8 at Luffy, force him to lose it, because I know he only has 1 card in hand. I'll swing 7 at Zoro, because, again, he only has 1 card that's usable for blocking in hand, because I don't know what else is in his hand. And so now I've got a fair bit of Dawn up. I can play a Galdino and still have 2 Dawn active for Love Beams. So I'm going to play Mr. 3 here. And Mr. 3, again, is a blocker that can go aggressive. And there are some cards that I don't mind trashing from my hand in this matchup, or just in general. Like, I'm playing some of the vanilla Crocodile just for an Impel down and a former Baroque Works card that's searchable off the Baroque Works event, and is also, you know, Impel down, playable off the Ivankov. There are some matchups where you need to get some aggression down on board just to kind of match your opponent. Especially in, like, green, where they can just tap all your blockers. So he's going to Diablo Jambe on a Zoro at my queen here. And I'm thinking, can I counter out of this? And it's like, yeah, I'm going to counter out of this. So I'll pay 2 on the Love. And I'll pitch a Sasaki, and then I'll draw off Love and leader, and then I'll pitch Crocodile as well. And my guy's protected. Another great thing is that's just enough. And then I see that I have an Ivankov in hand, which means that, like, next turn I'm going to be able to drop the Ivankov, draw an additional card off of that, and then even if I don't play anything off of it, it's still, like, it's still live, right? It's still, like, a 7-drop that I played that drew me a card. It's a replacing itself at the minimum at that point. And that's why I like Ivankov, I think, in this deck, is because it's just going to replace what I've lost. He'll play the Zoro here and opt not to swing it. Again, he doesn't have the cards to really replace it in his hand. So at this point in time, I'm feeling pretty confident. He's already used 2 Diablo Jambes, so I'm going to play the Ivankov here, and I'll draw a card off of it. I don't have any targets to play, unfortunately. I'll slot a Dawn underneath my leader, and I'll swing at his leader. I think now is the point where I can start going aggressive. After this turn, he's got 3 life left, and I have 4 attackers next turn guaranteed, and I have 4 life left, so there isn't really a world where he can actually beat me this turn with the amount of Dawn that he has and the characters that he's active, just because of the fact I have a jump blocker, I have 2 Dawn active, and I have 4 life. So I'll be able to keep all of my blockers alive, as well as take out all of his life next turn if I wanted to. I don't have to play that aggressive. I can probably go 2 more turns before finishing if I really want to. I haven't taken any damage yet, so I'm in a pretty commanding position. And my hand is Spada, Blast Breath. So I will block with Queen here. It's a free block on a 5k swing at the leader. And he has both Zoro swings still, and he still has Dawn for a Luffy to come out and go sideways, which it's completely fine at this point, honestly. If Luffy comes down, I'm not too worried about that. And at this point in the game, I have enough to counter on a Luffy swing, and then I can definitely kill it if it comes out, just because of the fact that he has got no cards in hand, and I have a pretty wide board that's pretty well established. Also, because I am playing cards like Daz Bones and Missile Sunday, I'm going to be able to recycle some of these cards in my trash. He's going to swing 6 at me. I'll pay 1 for a Spada. I'll reveal the top 3 cards in my deck here, and I like the way they look. I'll put the Crocodile on top just because I don't want to use Daz Bones to counter out if I have to. He's going to swing again with his Zoro at my Queen, which I'll block with the Law because I want to keep it up in case he goes for Luffy at my Queen, and I want to make sure that I have something. So I have the Daz Bones now, so that Spada is going to come back that I just played. I don't want to use the Blast Breath at this point just because it's just too good. I'm going to swing 7 at the Zoro here. Again, I want to just clear board and maintain pressure on board, and don't allow him to develop anything. He'll block this first swing with Chopper, and then I'll swing 6 again at the Zoro. He counters 2k, I'll swing 6 again at the Zoro. Which, again, I'm just really trying to clear his board at this point. I'll swing 5 at the Nami to clear that. I'll pay 1 for a Daz Bones to grab back a Spada. And then I believe I pay 3 for a Missile Sunday. And I grab back the Love Beam. And I pitch... Oh, no, sorry, I don't grab back anything. Sorry, I pitch the Crocodile to restand the Galdino, because this is going to give me pressure on board, and I'm threatening a lot up right now. So I have a ton of Dawn active right now. So the first Luffy swing, he has to swing at above, like, to get a Queen killed or an Ivankov killed. So Ivankov, he's got to swing at 13 for me to be able to, because I have 6k counter in hand right now. I've got a Blast Breath and a Desert Spada. So he's got to get to 13 to kill the Ivankov, and he's got to get to 12 to kill the Queen, and I can't block those attacks from the Luffy, right? So that means he's got to commit the most of his Dawn to his Luffy just to kill one of my characters. And that's a position where you're feeling in a pretty bad position, because you're only going to be killing one of my characters with your Luffy this turn, and it's just going to die on the crackback. So he has to leave some Dawn up to play other cards, otherwise he just falls too far behind. So he goes 6 under his Zoro, and he's thinking about swinging at me for 13, but he doesn't swing at me 13, so he swings 12 at my Ivankov, and I'm like, okay, perfect, I can get to 13, no problem here. So I have 2 cards in hand. I will be able to draw off of one of these cards here, so I could potentially get to 14 is the thing. Like, if I have a 1k or a 2k counter on top of my deck, I could get to potentially 14 or 15k is the thing. So he's going to swing. I'll pay 2 to play a Desert Spada and the Blast Breath. I don't use the Desert Spada effect, and because I had enough, I don't know why I didn't, but I could have stacked my deck to guarantee a 1k or a 2k off that Spada, to ensure that my Ivankov lives in that situation. Because that's who he's attacking. And then he's going to go ahead and slot a ton of Dawn underneath his Zoro, which I don't really agree with. If that's what the player were going to make, I would have just put it all underneath the Luffy and just guaranteed kill one guy. But my Missile Sunday will block, and then I will grab back the Love Beam, and I've refilled a counter in my hand now. And at this point, there's no way that he can protect his Luffy, because I'm just going to go 8 on 6, which he only has 1 card in hand, so there's nothing that he can do there. protect it. And then now I can start really pressuring his life. I'll go 6 at life here. Again, if he wants to counter it, he's more than welcome to. I'll swing 6 at life again, which, I mean, he really needs cards in his hand at this point. And yes, I'm giving him cards, but I'm not really feeling in a vulnerable position. I'll swing again for a 5 at life, which I'll take. And then I'll swing 5 from my Mr. Bones here at life. Just to put myself in a position where I have lethal next turn. And again, there's no play that he can make this coming turn that's going to win him the game. Because I'm going to play another chump blocker. I've got 3 Dawn active. And yeah, there's not a single play that he can make this turn that will win him the game. Nor is there a play that will really kill my board enough for him to survive. Because he's got 2 cards in hand. The only thing that he could really do is... So you have 4 cards in hand at this point, sorry. But the only thing that he can really do is play like Anomaly to search something. But there's nothing that he can really search out that'll protect his life. Yeah, he can grab a Diablo Jambe, for example, and swing at one of my blockers and kill them, but I don't care at this point if anything dies on my board, because my board is so well developed that I'm going to be going for lethal next turn. Kill my Lonk if I slot 15k under my leader and swing at you. There's no life left. Even with the blocker, it's just going to be really hard for him to survive this turn. So he's just kind of on the back foot here. He's going to Otama on my Galdino, followed by a Vista to pop it. So that's 1 threat off the board for him. But even if he Jambes me and then swings at 10 with his leader at me, which he's going to do, it looks like. Or 9, I guess, because he's going to leave 1 Dawn active for like a Radical Beam or something, maybe. Again, that's pretty easy. Love Beam. Draw 2 cards, and that's countered out, because he's only swinging 8. And, yeah, now I'm in a really, really commanding position, because it's just going to be 17k at leader, and he only has a Zoro and a Radical Beam, so that's game. Whew, a real grinding matchup, but a real fun one nonetheless. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in, and until next time, Monty out.